This episode of the Wayang Crew Podcast is brought to you by Times Cineplex. Hey guys, I'm Kev.
Yo, this is Del.
I am Tibby.
And Zainal here.
And we are
The Wayang Crew. Oh yeah.
Welcome back everyone to another episode of the Wayang Crew Podcast. What's up guys? It's of course your weekly podcast where we talk about all things movies and of course movies that are playing here in Brunei Darussalam. Today we'll be talking about Steven Speilberg's latest blockbuster, Ready Player One. But first, my co-hosts, it's Del.
Yo.
What's up, Del?
Good. It's been a week of an adventure getting Infinity War tickets.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You have yours.
I have 2 sets.
2 sets?
One in Hong Kong, one in Brunei.
Wow.
I was at the Times Cineplex giveaway.
Yeah?
For the keychain.
Oh, okay.
I was the first one. Because they were only giving away 5 and tickets started selling at 10 a.m. So I was there at 9:35.
Really?
I was the first one there. 2 minutes later, somebody came behind me.
I saw your photo on the official Instagram page for Times Cineplex.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right.
And I thought that's dedication right there. All right. Up next, it's our other co-host. She's back again. It's Nikkei.
Hello.
What's up?
I got a busted lip.
You got busted lips?
Yeah.
From?
Someone knee me on jiu-jitsu class.
Oh,
goodness.
you said someone need you. I went, what?
Knee my lips.
I hope it was by accident.
It is.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Are you sure?
Because there's no kneeing in jiu-jitsu.
All right. I'm not even going to ask how
Now
this
there
happened.
is.
Okay, never mind. I didn't notice, but thanks for telling me. And on her first ever episode here on the Wayang Crew Podcast, we've enlisted the help of a new comic from Brouhaha. She just recently did her first show. Yeah. It's Nazz.
Hi.
Hey, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you.
Well, all right.
It's good to be here, Nazz. Thank
to
you.
be here.
Yeah, I've never had someone welcome me in my own home. It was surreal.
Surreal, right?
Please make yourself at home.
Yeah, I know.
There's tea and coffee.
The reason why we have Nazz on the show and for the foreseeable future is because we've lost 3 of our co-hosts within the last 2 weeks. First, we lost Tibby, who's off in Myanmar for work. We've also lost Zainal, who's off chasing his dreams in Kuala Lumpur. And just this week, we lost Khai, who was very briefly with us here on the Wayang Crew, but we're sure he's listening all the way in LA. We can't wait to have all of you back. And we're going to start off this news with a little bit of a serious tone. Arnold Schwarzenegger reportedly has undergone emergency heart surgery. Yes, so the 70-year-old action movie star Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's in stable condition following an emergency heart surgery.
So you spoke to him? How's he?
No, I didn't. I did not speak to him. Although if I was given the chance, I would. I wouldn't know what to say, but...
Can you say, I'll be back?
Yes. Yes. Please come back. Because we're going to need him for the next reboot of the Terminator franchise. Which we've talked about on the show quite a lot in the last couple of weeks. Moving on to the next bit of news. Pacific Rim sequel, which is Pacific Rim Uprising, a movie we talked about last week, manages to dethrone Black Panther from the top of the box office. To be fair, Black Panther has been there for 6 weeks.
Okay, yeah.
Should have seen Nazz's expression. She's,
How dare they?
She was horrified. What? This cannot be.
You gotta choose your words carefully now.
I know. This one, she listens closely. So, Pacific Rim Uprising had a $28 million opening weekend last week.
Not very high.
Not very high, but it was good enough to dethrone Black Panther from the top spot, which it had been for the past 5 weeks. Okay. But last week, Black Panther only brought in $16 million.
Only.
On the 5th week.
6th week.
On the 6th week.
On the 6th week.
Yes.
Well, you know what we think of Pacific Rim Uprising. If you heard the last episode, I, for one, wasn't very impressed. But it was still an all-around good movie. I think it's still showing here in Brunei Cinemas.
Yeah, still.
Yeah? And where should they watch it?
Times
Cineplex. All right. The best place to watch movies. Del was just looking at me like,
what?
where? Now, I said this to Del earlier on. It's a China Infinity War poster.
All right.
All right. Now, China has always been that market where movie studios pay a little bit more attention to
Yeah.
because most of China are sort of still new to this whole Hollywood thing. You know, even the Avengers, even things like Pacific Rim, which is why in the last couple of years we've seen a lot of major studios put Asian actors to sort of give some sort of attachment
Yep.
Yeah.
to these markets.
Plus, filming also happens in a few countries here in the Northeast.
Yeah. So Marvel has just released a new Infinity War poster, and it's like the most obvious poster ever. It features everyone. As in, you can't hide it.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's still, wait, not everyone. There's still no Hawkeye.
Yes, that's right. There still is no Hawkeye, but
No Ant-Man.
I don't read Chinese, but I think that at the bottom of this poster, the title says something, something, something in Chinese, and we see 3.
Oh,
So they're making it very clear that this is the third movie,
Right.
the third Avengers movie.
there's also a Japanese version that came out.
Okay, but less obvious, I think.
Yeah, less obvious. I'm looking at the Chinese one, and yes, it's probably less obvious.
Probably.
Probably.
All right.
Yeah,
We've
yeah.
got about 4 weeks to go for Avengers
yeah.
Infinity War, which is happening here in Brunei on April 25th. So if you haven't got your tickets, do get them early. Yeah, because, you know, this is the biggest movie this year. No doubt, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
I
my
think-
goodness.
yeah.
It's everybody's top 5.
Depending on how the story finishes, and maybe next year will be even bigger, or maybe not.
Maybe not.
Depends.
All right. Anyone here use Twitter?
Yeah, I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Del does?
Yeah.
The Wayang Crew has a Twitter account, although, you
Oh,
know,
we do.
Oh, we do. I will follow after this. I'll just. Yeah.
All right. Okay, the Wayang Crew has a Twitter handle. It's just for us to sort of, you know, send out tweets about
Information.
new episodes
Yeah.
and this and that. If you
Ooh.
are on Twitter, Avengers Infinity War emojis are now live.
How do you get them?
First, you got to be on Twitter,
Uh-huh.
and
Checked.
then I don't know how, but I will delve into this after the podcast, and we'll talk
As will all
about
of us.
and
In
we'll,
hashtag.
Yeah,
is
it could be.
hashtag? Could be
Because they
hashtag.
did it the last time with
Yeah.
Avengers 2.
And Black
Yes.
Panther.
And Black Panther, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so just for the purpose of Infinity War, they have hashtag Iron Man, hashtag Doctor Strange,
Oh, yeah.
Hulk, Spider-Man, Captain America, Black Panther, Thor, Star-Lord, Black Widow, Winter Soldier, Scarlet Witch, Nebula, Gamora, War Machine, Falcon, Drax, Mantis, Groot, Rocket Raccoon, Loki,
Kev, I think you
the
mean
Vision.
everyone on the
Just
Chinese
name
poster.
the 32 characters of...
Yeah. Just say everyone.
Just say everyone.
Everyone
Right?
on the, yeah.
Except for Hawkeye.
Yeah,
Funnily enough, there is no Thanos in this.
Oh.
Oh.
So it's all the good guys.
So there is Hawkeye?
No.
There's no Hawkeye.
Hawkeye-
There is still no Hawkeye.
Still
so
yet to
he's,
appear.
He's definitely not in the movie then.
No, he is.
Maybe not as Hawkeye.
No, I think he's he may be back at the farm.
Yeah.
And so he's not
possibly.
participating.
Back with his family?
Maybe he's giving advice or something.
His wife's giving birth.
In the.
All right.
No, she was pregnant in Age of Ultron.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's been a couple of years, I think.
Has it been a couple? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a couple of
Depending,
years.
I don't know how
Similar.
time works in the MCU.
I got it. He's on paternity leave.
Oh, yeah. That makes
yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Heroes have paternity.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
Heroes are still humans.
All right. Guardians of the Galaxy. It's been out for 4 years, but apparently there are still some Easter eggs in that movie that have not yet been found.
Oh.
Okay, so Janes Gunn, the director, has confirmed this, and this week an avid-eyed viewer sort of noticed something in that cameo appearance by Stan Lee, and there was like a profile thing because Rocket Raccoon was looking at
Oh, the
him.
first
Yeah.
Guardian.
Yeah, the first Guardians, and there was text that appeared next to Stan Lee's head, and he tweeted out to James Gunn to say that this text is Skrull for Excelsior. Oh. And James Gunn confirmed it. Yep, that is an Easter egg, but that's not the Easter egg. It's still out there,
Yeah.
and no one has found it.
Oh, wow.
Does this, make you excited that,
Yeah.
that
I'm
this...
just gonna watch it
No,
now.
not at all.
No, I'm gonna watch it again. I gotta find
You
it.
can kind of see how the Wayang Crew has sort of worn down Del. It's like, I'm not excited, and you got the new host that we have, Nazz. He's like, I'm excited.
Yeah, I gotta watch it.
I, for one, will check it out again, but I just don't know how eagle-eyed I can be.
I'm not excited only because I'm not good at these things. I don't catch all these Easter eggs. I have to go online and look for them.
Oh.
Like wait till people tell me. and then I'll be like, oh, that's good, that's very clever.
So you need help.
Yes.
I like just roaming around. Like in games as well, I like looking for Easter eggs as well.
Right.
So I just like roam, look for it, spend
Yeah.
hours. Yeah, it's fun.
So you would have done really well in the Oasis then.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I loved it. Oh my goodness, that's my area.
Okay, well, which is also why we got you in, because you're also a big game fan.
Yeah, I'm a gamer.
So you'll be replacing both Khai and Tibby.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
2 for what?
Two
Yeah.
for one. But that's later on in the show. We talked about the Skrulls. We're also going to have to talk about the Kree, I guess, because in the Marvel universe, it's the Kree and the Skrulls who are in war. Yes, you're right, Captain Marvel. Now, the next movie in the MCU after Avengers Infinity War will be Captain Marvel, played by Brie Larson. Clark Gregg
Yeah.
is going to be in this movie.
Oh my goodness.
Agent Coulson.
She's excited.
She's so excited. I love it.
Yeah.
He's-
I'll give her a year.
No. It's Clark Gregg. Because, like, in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they've already touched the part on Scree.
On the
Yeah.
Kree.
Kree. Wow.
They've kind of like time traveled or something.
Time travel.
They
and
are
then,
in
like,
space.
people...
Spoiler alert for those who have not watched
Agents
Agent of
of
S.H.I.E.L.D.
S.H.I.E.L.D.
TV series.
which I think 3 of us don't, but only Nazz.
No, I'm watching it.
I
You're watching it.
Yeah.
They've delved into, like, people with Kree bloodline
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
So.
Inhumans and Kree
Yeah.
now.
Okay, so Clark Gregg is in this as Agent Coulson, obviously. Lee Pace is also going to be in this.
Uh-huh.
He played the main...
Ronan.
Yeah, Ronan, the main
Ronan,
antagonist in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Destroyer.
Djimon Honsou is also back.
Oh,
They've announced him. He will be in Captain Marvel.
that's
Whoa.
cool.
Yeah. So I think this is like a real time-traveling thing. It could be. I'm not sure.
No, it's just in the past.
It's set in the 90s.
It's set in the
Yeah.
90s.
Set in
Yeah.
the 90s.
When they are still around.
But the
Yeah.
thing is, Ronan the Accuser would have had knowledge of Earth if he had met Peter Quill.
Peter Quill.
I don't remember.
Did he not know anything about Earth?
It wasn't said.
Okay, I guess I have to watch Guardians again.
Because the focus of the first movie was at the end of it was Xandar,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it started off in Xandar and ended back in Xandar.
Yeah.
He never mentioned about whether he knows Earth or not.
Yeah, it wasn't brought up. Okay.
So that's another thing to look for in Guardians,
Yeah.
apart from the Easter egg.
All right, I'm gonna watch it again tonight. We're gonna move on to the other side of the Marvel universe.
I thought you meant DC. Okay.
No, this this time with Fox, and this is a movie that Dell was looking forward to for 2018. It has been pushed all the way back to 2019. We're talking about Fox's New Mutants.
Yep.
Here's the news that has come out. 50% of the movie will need to be reshot because the executives at Fox are not happy with it. And they feel that it doesn't, sort of sell the tone that they were trying to go for, which is a horror-esque.
All right. Yeah.
Angle?
The official quote was, it was not scary enough.
Well, it wasn't scary enough.
And then that's why they wanted to do reshoot. But not only that, I think they also wanted a new direction whereby they're introducing 2 more characters into the whole movie. So that's why the extensive reshoots are happening. And that goes against director Josh Boone's wishes because he is happy with what he's got. But now they want him to do 50% extra work.
Okay.
So we will know only when we see the result, if that is a good decision or not.
Here's a question though. To do 50% more work, does he get 50% more pay?
That's what I want to know as well.
Yeah.
But I think he will get something out of it. But then it's still like in a tennis match, when you thought you've won the game and then you let everything out. I don't know if you guys watch tennis. But
No, I don't.
example.
Everyone's just looking at you like,
yeah.
all right, that's the one with the ball, right?
Because when you think you've done your job and then that's it, and then you are so relaxed, but then now you got to go back in for like 50% more. It takes a lot out of you, I think.
Yeah. I mean, you probably invested like a year of your life into this.
Yeah. And then they tell you, oh, this is not good enough.
And 50% more will not necessarily translate to 50% of the production time, which is 6 months.
Yeah.
They'll probably say something, do it in 2 months.
Yeah.
Does that mean 50% of the movie will be directed by the studio?
No. It's
Not,
still directed
not
by...
directly, but
Yeah,
indirectly.
that's what happened to Fantastic Four.
You mean Fanforstic?
Yeah,
Fantastic.
Fantastic. It's like, I think more than 50% of the movie was actually uncredited, directed by the studio and not Josh Trank.
But that was because Trank was being a baby on set and he wasn't playing ball.
Supposedly.
Supposedly. That's-
We have no proof.
We have no proof. I'm excited for his new movie coming out with Tom Hardy.
All right. Here's something else we have no proof of and on whether or not it's happening. The proposed GAMBIT movie. Which has been in limbo at Fox since 2015. It has been pushed back several times because they've had so many directors come on the project and then leave. People from the likes of Rupert White, Doug Liman, and more recently Gore Verbinski. But there is a new report that is out that says that this movie will be beginning production on June the 19th of this year.
Oh, what? Okay.
I'll believe it when I see the first trailer.
Which won't happen till the end of the year, or maybe even towards
next year.
No, it's scheduled. It's already scheduled for next year.
It's already scheduled to premiere on 7th of June 2019.
Yeah.
Which is almost 1 year to the date of when they supposedly start production.
Which is sounds about right.
But that's a bit quick, don't you think?
Yeah, it's
For
a
what?
bit rushed.
Starting production or for the filming
Release.
process? The release.
Well, when they start production, there's gonna be maybe 8 months of shooting.
No.
No?
I think it's like 2 to
Depending on
3
the
months.
depending. Well, yeah, but 2 to 3 months if it's a small project, or it could be at most 6 months if it is a big project like this one. But we still don't know how big this is. And then after that, you need 2-3 months for post and CGI.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, 9 months is the turnaround time usually.
So realistically, we should be looking at a trailer maybe by early 2019.
Oh, trailer wise, depending on marketing, because like Solo, we only got it few months before the
Like
actual
4
show.
months before
Yeah.
the movie.
Yeah.
Okay. Something to consider. I mean, it is an ambitious project because it's had a lot of trouble from trying to get lifted off the ground.
Yep.
Let's just hope. Here's someone who is also ambitious, in this case more successful. Steven Spielberg. He sort of hit back at Carl's Jr. and here's why. Carl's Jr. apparently had a plan to introduce quote-unquote Speilburgers. Alright, and what this was that they were going to theme a selection of burgers as Speilburger burgers, and each burger would harken back to an iconic film of Steven Spielberg's. Now, I showed you guys this before we started recording. It was like artwork for marketing, which was Jaws, essentially, but the shark is replaced by a burger with teeth.
Yep.
So, Carl's Jr. put out a tweet to say that this is what we plan to do, and we're going to call it Speilburgers, obviously trying to bank on the anticipation of Ready Player One, because Spielberg's name is back out there. And they said Spielberg hasn't signed off yet, but we assume he's cool with it. Alright, and Warner Brothers has come back to Carl's Jr. and said, Carl's Jr. appreciate the Ready Player One love, but this is not approved. And then the next day, you had Steven Spielberg himself chiming in an official statement. He says that, look, the burgers are pretty good, but I'm passing. Cease and desist, you can't do it. Sorry, guys. So he's not lending his name at all to this.
Poor thing on Carl's Jr. because they obviously spend a lot of money on this.
Yes, because they've come up with a couple of YouTube shorts and this and that, and they've put out the promotions already to sort of announce Spielburgers.
You know what? I think Carl's Jr., they thought they could get away with it. It's like a case of ask for forgiveness later and then you do it first. What's the whole phrase? I forgot. But then
Like, do it and then go, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know.
yeah.
Here's my wrist, slap it, and that's it.
But I guess they forgot that they have to get the studio's approval as well.
Okay. Well, best of luck to them. We'll see what happens to this ad campaign. We mentioned Spielberg, and of course, when you think of Steven Spielberg, you think of Jurassic Park or Jurassic World.
Yeah.
Colin Trevorrow will return to direct the third Jurassic World movie. So we are going to get a Jurassic World 2, which will be in July this year.
Yep.
One of the big summer blockbusters. And Colin Trevorrow was the director of the first film. The second film is directed by someone else. I can't remember the name.
Jay Bayona.
Jay Bayona. Yep, that's it. But Colin will come back to direct the third film. Are you excited for this?
Star Wars. So
It's like very Star
It's like
Wars.
Star Wars. So
Yeah.
does that mean the second one will not be good like The Last Jedi?
No.
And then they need to bring back the original J.J. Abrams.
The second one looks so much better than the first. I mean, from that trailer that we saw.
yeah.
That one
Yeah.
trailer out of the 3.
But it
that I
might
saw.
not be that tone.
I hope it is.
Yeah.
I think it's difficult having Chris Pratt to be in horror because he'll be...
Well, Ryan Reynolds did horror as well.
That is true. But no, but this is not horror. This is just sort of like horror-ish. Like
Yeah.
they're presenting the dinosaurs like, look, it's a monster. It's not just a
Yeah.
dinosaur.
If the movie is like that, then yes, it'd probably be good because that reminds me of the first Jurassic
Yeah,
Park
yeah.
at the kitchen scene, where the two
The
raptors.
raptors,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one was like really from a horror. that sounds too adorable.
She does sound effects.
And then
That's Nazz, by the way.
No, there's a raptor in here.
Yeah.
But I liked when they played around with their claws.
Yeah.
They're so smart.
It's like a teacher walking around looking for
Yeah.
the bad student kind of thing.
Yeah.
I still have nightmares with that scene
Oh yeah?
from Jurassic Park. Right? I mean, it's not like a, oh my god, I'm gonna die thing. It's just that, I occasionally
You're
have
like
dreams
holding your breath.
where I'm like, holding my breath like in the kitchen, like,
Raptors are coming.
could be a raptor.
On a side note, Lego fans will rejoice because Lego is releasing that scene in Lego this year.
Whoa.
Wow.
Oh, you're gonna get it, one?
Yeah. Yes, I am.
Yeah.
I
And
am.
it comes with all the 4 main characters.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's the two kids.
The 2 kids, and
Samuel.
Samuel and also the lady.
Laura Dern.
Laura Dern, yeah. Not
Jeff
the Goldblum.
Not Goldblum.
Yeah, not
Okay.
Goldblum.
Mission Impossible. Now, there's a movie coming out this year, Mission Impossible Fallout, which will be the 6th Mission Impossible movie.
Ooh.
We are big fans. Well, I am a big fan of the franchise. I think from the 3rd one, I guess. 3rd, 4th, and 5th has been getting better. The film wrapped up in February, but the director, Christopher McQuarrie, has shared out a couple of clips which show the end of filming. And the last shot that they did was Tom Cruise jumping out the back of a cargo plane at 25,000 feet for a scene in the movie. I mean, this is a guy who hangs off the side of airplanes. In this movie, we've seen in the trailer that he hangs out the side of a helicopter.
Yep.
There is a reason why they left this as the last scene to shoot, because it's just him jumping out of a plane. So,
Right. Anything happens. I see where you're going.
Yeah.
so if anything happens, well, don't worry, we've got the movie.
Yeah.
We've got the movie.
It will sell.
Oh my
The
goodness.
movie will sell. If he goes on this scene, it will sell more.
Oh, that's dark.
But yeah, I mean, the shots that he tweeted out are impressive. It's essentially just Tom Cruise by himself standing at the back
is he doing?
of a cargo plane. The guy is 53.
Oh my goodness.
He looks good he's still jumping out of planes for movies. And did you guys see that clip that he brought to the talk show, the
Yeah.
British talk show?
Oh yeah.
Where he broke
broke
his
his
ankle.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
He jumped from one building to the other. Of course, with harnesses,
Yeah.
which were later moved by CGI. And he landed wrongly. And in the slow motion clip, you see his foot hit the wall and bend.
Ah!
And he hangs on. He stands up on the building and he continues to run.
So,
and at the end
yeah.
of it, cut, and he screams, "Ah!"
What's wrong with him?
He shattered his ankle.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
And reason why he kept going filming was because he said, I'm not doing this for another take. This is the one and only take. That's why he pulled himself off the building, off the side of the building, and started running as if still in the scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Limping.
That's
dedication.
commitment.
Oh
dedication.
my gosh.
You gotta give the guy respect. Like,
Yeah.
he owns the franchise and he puts his whole heart and soul, in this
Yeah.
case, even his own blood into it. You're a game fan. This
Yeah.
should interest you. Duke Nukem.
Oh, someone's gonna, what's his name?
John
Cena. Yeah.
Yeah, he is confirmed for a Deadpool-esque kind of adaptation.
Duke Nukem.
I don't know, video game movies again. We just saw 2 weeks ago Tomb Raider, which in my opinion was not great. It was alright.
It's alright.
It's not as faithful to the game as we would have liked. They sort of changed a couple of story points. This Duke Nukem thing, I remember playing it as a teenager.
Yeah, I was quite young as well.
You were quite young. I was a teenager. I didn't really play a lot of it because to be honest, I did not have a PC that was good enough to run it well.
Yeah.
But there were things in this game that are not kid suitable.
Not kid
Oh,
friendly.
okay.
It's not family friendly.
Yeah, not
I
family
believe.
friendly. He essentially is a rough guy and
Yeah.
this and that, and he's sort of like a mercenary thing,
Yeah,
isn't he?
he is, yeah.
And there are elements in the game which would work in a Deadpool-esque kind of adaptation.
It would.
But I don't know whether, it's the right time, because everyone's sort of moving into comic books now.
Yeah.
And the whole
that's
Marvel
true.
thing, and DC, well, slowly but surely, hopefully will catch up. Fox has their own slate of superhero movies. And then you have this Duke Nukem. And I think there's a serious image issue here, because John Cena,
Cena.
he's mainly a comedy actor now.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, if he was going to go into this and try and pull a Ryan Reynolds, maybe it would work.
Maybe.
But we'll have to see, because there
Yeah.
aren't any details. More on John Cena. He wants to team up with Dwayne Johnson
Ooh.
in a Fast and Furious movie.
No!
I say yes.
I say yes.
I say yes.
They've put everyone in there. Jason Statham. They put The Rock. They put
It's the new
Everyone's
Expendables.
Yeah.
just put one more guy in there.
yeah. Eventually, it will be all the WWE stars in the movie.
Bring Stone Cold. Everyone.
Yeah, Triple H, Edge, everyone.
Hulk Hogan.
Okay. I mean, we have The Rock in there, and he sort of saved the franchise from the 5th movie onwards. He sort of gave the franchise a shot in the arm.
carry.
Yeah. So he is now part of this elite whatever agency. If John Cena goes in there, I don't think he'll play a villain, because John Cena really
It's gonna be family.
no, because John Cena he has the crew cut. He looks like a military guy, so he could play a military guy of some sort.
Maybe like the comic relief army guy.
Part of Dwayne Johnson's crew.
Yeah.
No,
Is that still happening? Has anyone heard anything about the spin-off?
the spin-offs
with-
apparently
with
they're still
Dwayne
happening.
Johnson?
Yeah, they're still happening, but there is a movie slated for 2019, which will be Fast and Furious 9. Now, going back to Nazz on John Cena being the comic relief, he can't be the comic relief. If he is the comic relief, then Tyrese has no job.
That's
Oh
true.
my god, the poor guy. The poor guy.
He's gonna start ranting.
Oh my god, it's gonna... His Instagram.
Any of you watch Game of Thrones?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
You guys know who Pedro Pascal is?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
He is joining the cast of Wonder Woman 2.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And he's an unnamed character. We don't know who he's going to play, but he joins, of course, Gal Gadot. And last
Kristen
couple of
Wiig.
weeks, we talked about Kristen Wiig joining in,
Yeah.
who will play the main villain,
Cheetah.
Cheetah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And now
okay.
Pedro Pascal is signed on. So
He's probably gonna do like a Viper-ish thing. Cause like, remember when he was in Kingsman 2?
yes.
Yeah, all the moves, that reminded me of like
Oh.
how the Viper
You mean
fought
with the lasso?
with the last, yeah. I don't know. It just reminded me of the Viper.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think he's an okay actor.
Sure.
Wasn't he in The Great Wall with Matt Damon?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, that was a bad
Oh,
movie.
Yeah.
That was really bad.
Yeah.
Pedro.
Here's another bad movie, a bad franchise, Sharknado.
Oh my god.
Okay, so there have been 5 Sharknado movies. These, of course, are produced by the Sci-Fi Channel and
The
released.
Asylum.
Yeah, and released on their network. There is a 6th movie coming out, which will be the last movie in the franchise. But this time, they will end it with a time-traveling finale.
Oh my goodness.
So how's that gonna end the franchise? It's not gonna
It's
end.
not. Is it time traveling?
I don't know. I don't care about this. I cannot watch
And then
Sharknado.
time travel that mess up all the timeline and the reality,
Yeah.
and then we have an alternate reality that is gonna happen in
Yeah.
Asia and it's gonna cause shark typhoon.
The only reason I brought this headline up is because I read the article, and yes, it is what I just explained to you. But then, because we just saw Ready Player One, and we saw the DeLorean, it sort of brought back all these memories of Back to the Future.
Yeah.
And what will be the time-traveling vessel here? Is it a shark that's fitted with a flux capacitor? He
the
has to swim-
Sharknado spin too fast that it turns time.
He has to
gosh.
swim 88 miles an hour.
What are they gonna do?
I don't know, but I'm kind of curious to see,
Yeah.
but I'm not gonna...
I have no care for it. I watched the first one and I was like
no
I
expectations.
just wasted 2 hours of my life.
But it's a cult classic.
Oh,
It is now.
Yeah, but then I don't belong in that cult.
All right, cool. Switching over to Disney and Star Wars. Now, Mark Hamill reveals how George Lucas planned to end Star Wars Episode 9. So Mark Hamill has said that he knows for a fact that George Lucas actually wanted to kill off the character of Luke, but only at the end of Episode 9, apparently after he had taught Leia how to fully use the Force.
Oh no.
That would make so much more sense.
Yeah, well, it's a good thing Kai's not here, because then we would have a really long podcast episode. And he'd just be ranting and saying, no, Ryan Johnson is the killer of my dreams and whatnot.
That sounds like him.
Here's one for you, Kai.
Hi.
More from Mark Hamill. He says that he's worried that there are too many Star Wars films on the way.
Oh.
Yeah, he says that he brought it up with Disney, Kathleen Kennedy, to say that, why don't you guys sort of spread yourselves out like every year, like release a movie every year. But then he understands that, it's all money now, and they have timetables and they have schedules to keep to, because there's so many things now that are Star. I sort of feel a little bit fatigued when I hear of a Star Wars thing. Like, we just got The Last Jedi.
And now we're gonna get Solo.
And like the TV universe, Rebels and all that, they're going in their own different directions.
Yeah.
They've announced the new trilogy, which will be sort of helmed by Rian Johnson. He'll be writing it. This is just too much. And then there's that Obi-Wan movie, which may or may not be happening. We've never seen this much Star Wars.
Overwhelming.
Ever,
I guess.
right?
Yeah.
Do you think it's a good thing?
A year ago, I would say, no, give me more.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, I don't know, give me Solo first.
Give you Solo first.
Yeah.
There's a lot of movies, like big blockbuster movies, like just playing every year.
Yeah.
It's hard to catch up, like we want to take a breath,
Yeah.
breather.
So we want to get excited for a big
Yeah.
movie, which for the Force Awakens and The Last
Yeah.
Jedi. And then we want to sort of recluse back into
Yeah.
hide behind our Star Wars blanket.
Yeah.
I don't
Like,
think so. I
no?
think the reason why you're feeling it is because of The Last Jedi. If Last Jedi was great, you'll be like, keep giving it to me.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's how I feel. And then because we're having all the not positive
Yeah,
news
comments,
about Solo,
Yeah.
so it's kind of like making us feel like not excited as we were when they first announced Force Awakens. But if everything was going smooth, I don't think we would feel reluctant about it.
I have an experiment to do. Let's do it now here on the podcast. Del, you collect the Star Wars Lego sets, right?
Sure.
Are you buying all the sets from all the movies?
Not The Last Jedi.
No.
Not The Last Jedi,
Oh.
yeah.
So as a Lego fan / collector, you sort of feel that fatigue as well.
Not fatigue, but
No.
I'm not, because I look at the toy and I'm like, this does not bring back good memories.
So you associate it like, nope, I'm not buying it.
Yeah, pretty
Okay.
much. I'm buying a lot more Marvel than Star Wars now, as opposed to last time when I bought more.
So
Star
then
Wars.
maybe it's not a question of fatigue, it's more the question of, your expectations
Yeah,
for
like
the franchise.
I said, like a year ago, I would say give me more Star Wars, but now I
Now
want to
you're
see
sort of like,
Solo first.
I don't
Then
know.
yeah.
Speaking of Solo, there are some early Solo box office projections and are sort of in line with Rogue One's numbers.
Oh,
they
no.
expect Solo to do relatively okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
In that,
Okay,
that
okay.
number, okay. I was
Yeah.
thinking of another number.
I don't know. It's hard to say.
I don't like Rogue One, so
I liked it.
I don't like Rogue One.
I liked and didn't like it. But
Really?
I liked it, and then I didn't like the ending, but I understood why we needed the ending. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I liked and didn't like it. Like, I don't know.
She's trying hard not to spoil it. I guess.
I know.
Yeah.
I love you, but I don't love you.
I understand why I don't love you, but
But I kind of still love you.
Still, yeah.
I think I liked Rogue One more than
The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
because we sort of knew where Rogue One stood.
Yeah.
And Last Jedi was new things that
yeah.
maybe it was a bit hard to accept. All right, so that's the news this week on the Wayang Crew Podcast. Now, if you want to get in touch with us here on the show, you can do so via our Gmail account. That's thewayangcrew@gmail.com. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and our YouTube channel as well. And we just recently launched a Patreon page. You can find us at patreon.com/thewayangcrew. What it is essentially, if you want to give us like $1 a month, you can do so. But, any more is very highly appreciated. And we will be, giving you things like perks and bonus episodes if we reach certain goals. So do head there if you would like to support us here on the show. Now we're going to talk about the movie that will be up for review this week, which is Ready Player One.
Woo!
Someone's excited.
She brings like a whole different dynamic to the podcast.
Yeah.
We're going to do a very quick review of this. We're going to do a quick non-spoiler review, followed by a full spoiler review. Del, what did you think of this movie?
I think the ladies should go first.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
Yeah,
Such a gentleman.
No, I have my reason.
Okay, let's start off with Nazz.
I loved it. Cause I'm an avid gamer, and I used to, for one whole year, I think, when I was kind of jobless, I stayed in the virtual world more. It's true fact.
Okay.
And, so I was always communicating with people from around the world, like in the game as well. Avatars. It's so relatable. So I don't know, I loved it.
To you in particular, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And all these references in it just brought back like childhood memories, like from the 90s. I'm a 90s kid. So some of the 70s and 80s reference, like I got it, but it didn't impact me as much. But all these other things, like, it's amazing. I was just like screaming and laughing my head off.
Okay. Nikkei?
I love all the 80s reference, the music, the movies, like the little thing they sneak in, and like the visual is amazing. Like the moment they went into the Oasis, I just keep smiling. It's so beautiful. It's like, my goodness, Spielberg. Oh,
Yeah.
Alright, just blows me away.
Del.
What did you think about it?
It got me laugh.
Why? You're such a gentleman today. You're
No,
letting
I'm
me
not.
go first.
Oh, wait, I
not.
want to add, like, I watched it last night at 11:30 p.m.
Yeah.
And it finished at like 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And the whole time, like, I was really tired when I started watching it. I did not yawn at all. I was like,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah. Speaking of yawning, Del was yawning.
What?
Oh, yeah. But
Okay.
I yawn at movies.
Okay, here's what I thought. I thought this could be potentially one of the best movies for 2018
Wow.
for me,
Yeah.
personally. Because I came home after watching it and I thought to myself, this is the first time in a really long time where I laughed, I clapped, I was wowed, and collectively with everyone in that cinema, we all felt the same way, you know, when certain characters popped up,
Yeah.
like Gundam, and, you know,
Yeah.
the whole cinema just clapped and was cheering. And, you know, it's things like that that make me love going to the cinema to watch movies, you know, because it's a collective thing. It's an organic thing. And I think Spielberg really has, through his 40-year career, he has sort of found all the elements and the recipes to make us as an audience bond, I guess.
Yeah.
For that collective vision of what we want to see in that movie, and then root for it. And then when the movie delivers what it promises, we all cheer, and it's an all-around good time. I found myself just smiling at all these
Yeah.
references, like, oh my god, it's here. I can't believe they put that there, and this and that, and, you know, not to spoil anything, a lot of it is sort of seen in the trailer.
Yeah.
But those are just, you know, very microsecond snippets of what you will see. There is a big sequence in that movie where Nikkei and myself, you know, and most people who knew the references were just simply blown away. Like, we were speechless.
That was the best part.
That was the best part.
Love it.
Yeah, that
oh
was the
my
best part.
god.
So yeah, Del.
Let me be the voice of reasons. I understand why the references are all there. I understood why Spielberg did it this way. I just couldn't get behind the fact that every time there's something that pops up that's familiar and people start cheering, why? Because it feels like Spielberg is treating me as a pet cat. And he reached into his pockets, pulled out a set of keys and started jingling it in front of me and want me to look at this. Hey, look at this, look at that.
Okay,
It's like all these flashy things. And they don't add anything to the story. But when you do a reference that is, has a context to it, like the mention of Millennium Falcon, the Terminator 2 thumbs up, the
Padawan.
Yeah.
the Padawan or the Predator, not Predator, but the alien coming out of the stomach.
Chess, yeah.
Yeah, those are put into certain context. But when you just simply throw things on screen and then people start cheering, I don't understand why.
Okay.
And that is why I don't like a lot of these references that detract me from the main plot of the story. And I thought the story itself was really good, but also there are some problems with the direction of this movie, which we'll go into in the spoiler part.
Okay, so very, very, very quick brief. The world is in shambles, or the state of Ohio, or wherever he is from, and people, you know, have nowhere left to go in the real world, so they spend almost all their time in this virtual world called the Oasis. The main protagonist in this movie is
Wade
Watts.
Watts, yeah.
Yeah.
And his avatar, or his in-player game name, is Parzival. And the story is that it has been a couple of years since the inventor of this world has passed on, but he left Easter eggs in the game for people to find, and whoever completes all the challenges will inherit that world, that virtual world, the company and the virtual world.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna move on to spoilers now, I guess. But before we do so, let's get a very quick sort of pre-spoiler rating, like, you know, whether or not you loved it. Del?
6.5 chocobos.
6.5?
9.
9 out of 10.
Yeah.
All right.
8.5 over 10.
I'm with Nikkei on a 9.
Yeah.
Okay, so overall we've got like good scores for this movie. It's worth watching on a big screen because,
Yeah.
you know, you need that big screen
You
to catch.
need to see.
Yeah, to catch all the references.
Yeah.
Now we're going to be moving on to spoilers, all right? We're going to do a very quick spoiler review of Ready Player One. Let's start off with the biggest spoiler on this episode, Del.
Nice. I see what you did there. The whole thing was done quite well, except for the fact that a lot of certain plot points were very rushed.
Yeah.
For example, the love.
Oh, yeah, that love scene didn't make
What?
sense.
Like, I love you.
I've met you twice. I love you.
It's just like Ted Mosby in How I Met Your Mother.
That was the first night.
It felt like the first meeting for them to me.
He didn't have a blue horn though. Anyway.
And also there is no sorrow when the aunt died. Like the whole building filled with people that he knows collapsed and killed everyone in there. And then the next thing he sees what's her name, and then he fell in love.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I love you already.
Maybe it's because of the state of the society in the future, because everyone's just plugged in.
Yeah.
Sure.
So they're all emotionally detached to
disconnected.
everything else outside. Because we see that in real life. For people who are like 24/7 gamers.
Yeah.
They don't
It's
react.
true.
They don't react the same as normal people do.
Yeah, but then show that to me.
Oh, show that.
And then it will be a better story. Like, I would rather see this as a limited series on TV to properly explain the plot, to properly set up the love, to have a better character arc, and to have more of these references in some kind of context. That would be a much better option.
Yeah, to show like consequences.
Consequences, and then just properly tell a part of the story. Like the whole scene at the hotel in reference to Shining.
Yep.
That was beautiful.
Yes,
everything there was great.
Epic. I love it.
And you couldn't tell if this was CG or did they recreate this shot for shot? But it's obviously CG.
Yeah.
But top notch, super special Spielberg CG.
It's like you walked into The Shining.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
The character did not expect it. H was like walking into it. We're no, don't go there. Don't press it.
Yeah, because he's never seen the movie. And
I've never seen the movie.
if you have seen...
And funny thing, the guy sitting next to me, which is a friend,
right?
Well, me and another friend sitting 2 seats down, we were all going, "Oh no, don't go in there!" And this guy next to me, who had never seen The Shining, why? Scary guy.
He's H.
Scary guy.
He's H.
So he had like a little mini freak out. Nikkei, anything from your side for the spoilers?
Okay, the only thing that I don't like, which did not give me the 10 rating, is the character development of the real world, not the Avatar people. They're real, wait. Like, after when his aunt died, and then he was at the rooftop with Samantha, and then he's giving this really cringy moment. He was touching her face because she had the birthmark. That part just threw me off. Just ruined everything. Like, that part just...
The love stuff doesn't work in this movie.
Yeah.
It really doesn't.
Because it's rushed.
Yeah, it's rushed.
It's like he has this connection with her, and then he's like touching her face, and like, why are you touching this person's face?
The first time you met her.
Yeah, and she let him touch. I was like, that part just completely threw me off. Like, it kind of ruined the moment. But the good thing is, it wasn't long enough to really drag on. Because after that, it went to the Shining scene.
Because, they really had a connection, man.
Only he thinks here.
I've got something to say about
that. All right, Nazz,
Okay.
Your spoiler-filled thoughts on this.
Okay, to defend the love scene thing. Well, not really defend, but I've met a couple of gamers in real life, and I couldn't get why he crushed on her and then fell in love with her quickly. Not from... Okay, maybe from experience, but not me. Because I've met guys online who are like...
Not you.
No. I've met guys online, and they're like, oh, she has a nice voice, and then they want to get to know you. They want to, they DM you and stuff. There's usually, gamer gatherings, so you fly off there and meet all your guild members, and then you see how awkward they are in real life, or weird, or, they're different shapes and sizes.
Yeah.
And then once you meet them, they're so awkward. Yeah. And then they'd be like, hey, here's a flower for you. Oh, okay, that's nice. And then they start leaning against you for some odd reason. So these people actually do exist.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would prefer that the 8th real person would be a really hot girl, and Artemis is like a big black dude.
Yeah, I was expecting that. I was like, whoa.
But it's not.
Yeah, I think that would have turned out better.
They were sort of who they were in the Oasis.
Yeah.
I loved seeing Sho. I was like, oh my goodness. Oh, this 11-year-old kid.
Yeah,
So
that was a
badass.
surprise.
I couldn't understand Shiro. Was it the other guy?
The
Like,
Japanese guy.
The Japanese guy.
Daito.
He was Daito.
Daito,
Yeah. He was just sitting there meditating in the last battle. And then they're like, we need you. And I'm wondering, why do you need him? Why? It's done so poorly, like without reason, without any explanation.
They needed him so that he could bring the
Yeah, but
Gundams.
they didn't know that.
Yeah.
True, that is true.
And then suddenly he wakes up and I choose Gundam.
Yeah.
Even though that scene was epic, but then the whole build up, I just didn't,
And
I
then-
couldn't care for
And
it.
then he died.
And then, yeah.
Like, what?
yeah.
Del, do you agree that this movie is an all-round good time at the cinema?
Oh, yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay, it is an all-round good time at the cinema. There may be certain plot holes or things that you might not be able to accept depending on, you,
Yeah.
you know, and how you see the movie and how you perceive it. But over...
like you said, everyone was cheering in the cinema.
Yeah, everyone was
Not,
cheering.
when was the last time this happened? The Force Awakens.
Can't remember. Well, maybe
Yeah,
Force
yeah,
Awakens.
Force
Yeah.
Awakens.
That was like 2.5 years ago. Yeah. So this movie is still playing in local cinemas. Ready Player One, the latest Steven Spielberg blockbuster. Do catch it. If you are not really sure what we're talking about, go online, go on YouTube, check out the trailers, and I'm sure you'll be hooked. Because the concept of this movie and how it's presented beautifully by Steven Spielberg in this virtual world is something that you need to see.
Yeah.
Okay? This, I will go on record to say that this will be my first Blu-ray buy this year. I'm buying this movie
Yeah.
in 4K.
in 4K as soon as it comes out, and I'm gonna watch it frame by frame to catch all the references. So that's what we think.
Yeah.
I think it's only in our top 5, right?
Only me and you.
Yeah.
Oh.
In
Yeah.
our top 5.
This wasn't in my top 5 movies, so I was really surprised, like pleasantly surprised.
All right, but you still have time to change it, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah. No, I loved it. Like there's Bandai stuff, Blizzard stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we're gonna move on to the next bit of the show, which is Yep, that's right. It's part 6 of our MCU recap, which is the road to Infinity War. Today we'll be talking about 2 more Marvel movies. We'll be talking about Avengers Age of Ultron and Ant-Man.
Woo!
Yeah, so Avengers Age of Ultron is the end of Phase 2 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man is.
Ant-Man is.
yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Both movies start with A, by the way.
That's why Kev is confused?
Yeah, maybe.
Is that
Yeah.
where you're going with?
No, I just said it's funny.
Oh, okay.
Both movies start with A.
Either that, or it was a case of at the end of every phase is an Avengers movie, and well. Anyway, Avengers: Age of Ultron. This movie opens up, and the Avengers are, of course, together again. They're fighting their way through a Hydra army to
Yeah.
get to a Hydra holdout. Okay, so they get through. Of course, there's the obligatory, Avengers in a line shot that we've become accustomed to.
Oh, so good.
So good. All right. And then they, of course, break into the castle. We see Tony Stark, for the first time, put his Iron Man suit into Sentry mode.
Yeah.
And then he gets affected by Scarlet Witch. And this sort of sets the tone for the movie. When I say infected, I mean she does that thing.
She
and
plays
then-
with his mind.
Oh,
But I
yeah.
think
Yeah.
before that,
Put it
he
in-
finds a Husk of a Chitauri alien.
Yeah.
And the mind and the scepter.
Yes.
And while he's distracted by that, Scarlet Witch sneaks up from the back
That's what I meant. Yeah.
and she hexes him.
Yeah.
Which is our second time being introduced to the Scarlet Witch because we saw her in the post credits of Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier.
Yes.
Scarlet
Her
Witch
and her
Quicksilver.
brother.
Quicksilver.
Quicksilver. Pietro
yeah.
Maximoff.
All right.
So the reason why they do not like the Avengers is because they don't like Iron Man, Tony Stark to be exact, because
Because of the events of...
The
No.
Civil War. That
Because of
destroyed
Civil War, yeah.
Their home, the missile was Stark Industries missile.
Yeah, because she explains it. She says like, I didn't die and I was waiting for death, and right in front of me I saw it was Stark Industries, like a missile.
Yeah, yeah.
Just waiting to go off.
yeah. Now say that again in Russian accent.
Bulgaria?
Bulgarian?
Oh,
I
Bulgaria.
was waiting to die.
I was waiting for-
It's still Russian.
I was waiting for Stark to kill me
for 7 days.
for 7 days.
7 days in Eastern Europe is 10 days in America.
So if you think about it, in a way, Tony Stark kept me alive, but also almost killed me.
Tony Stark also created me. So I love him, I hate him.
She was focused. She was looking at the Stark name.
But it never went off, I think.
No, it didn't.
It didn't go off. Okay, so she is the result of experimentation. She and her brother.
Yeah.
Hydra had been experimenting to, make sort of super soldiers in a way, but ended up with
Only these two survive.
what we've come to know as Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. He's super fast. Now, a bit of history about Quicksilver. He appears in both universes now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because canonically he is the son of Magneto, but he is also an Avenger.
Okay.
So the problem is both studios had rights to these characters because Marvel Studios had the rights to every Avengers character, Fox had the rights to every X-Men character, and these two fell under the same group.
Like it was like a shared character.
Yeah.
So the Venn diagram overlapped here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And so Evan Peters was Quicksilver in Days of Future Past. Aaron Taylor Johnson was Quicksilver in Age of Ultron.
Yes.
Fun fact, they were both castmates in Kick-Ass.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Ever Peter thinking that?
He was the other guy.
He was the friend. The best friend.
Yeah. So Avengers Age of Ultron, we're introduced to, two more characters as we've mentioned, what we've come to know as Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. And in this movie, it's Tony Stark yet again trying to fix the world. And he says, no, we have to, pass this over to an automated system which he's come up with.
It's called the Ultron Initiative.
It's called the Ultron Initiative. That, of course, lends its name to the movie because something really goes wrong.
And I think the AI becomes self-aware.
Yes, the AI becomes
and
self-aware.
destroys Jarvis.
Yes, so Ultron becomes self-aware, voiced by James Spader. I'll be honest, we mentioned it off air. I think he talks too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And what else can we say about this?
I feel like it was a disappointment.
It was a disappointment for you?
Okay, so here's the problem I have with some of these Avengers or Marvel movies is because they use titles of actually really good storylines from the comics. Age of Ultron was a story from Brian Michael Bendis, which blew me away when it first came out. It was, I think, 30 chapters, but it's really condensed because Ultron attacks the Avengers at different points in time. And Age of Ultron means it is his full-on dominion over the world of Marvel.
Okay.
And then this thing comes out and Ultron's like a week old. So
Yeah.
How old is Ultron?
Essentially, he's a week. So, his age extended for a week.
Yeah, and I
that's
was
it.
like, what is this? Like, what is going on here? And my problem was that the Avengers, the first one, it felt very intimate. Everybody going in, we knew everyone's story, and we kind of felt like, oh yeah, okay, like I understand why Tony's like this, I understand why Thor's like that. There were just so many curveballs in this one. It's like, oh, by the way, here's that family for Hawkeye that we never told you about.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot
Yeah, and
about that.
by the way, here's this romance between Bruce Banner and Black Widow you never asked for.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, here's like that Thor showering scene just to show Chris Hemsworth's abs and show Ragnarok.
Yeah.
By the way, there's this Thanos connection. I'm like, what is going on in this movie?
It's the studio wanting to put in so much stuff in it.
I don't doubt it. I honestly don't doubt what you're saying. It's just like none of this has a place in this film. Like you could spread out these things throughout the next few movies.
Yeah, but then it is also the reason why Joss Whedon quit the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
See, this is where I'm not sure, Del, because Joss Whedon has now officially left 2 comic book studios. Like he's left, Warner Brothers. And
Well, he went in there for the money.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Right?
Not for...
Del, as much as you love Marvel, if Warner paid you a decent amount, you would fix it.
Of course.
Yeah,
Of
right.
course,
So
of
let's
course.
not get ahead of ourselves.
No doubt.
But the problem is like, is it really somebody else or is it him? Like, after this happens a bunch of times, you're like, it's like your friend who keeps saying, oh, like, I broke up with my girlfriend because da, 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 and you go, is it them or is it you?
But it's only one movie though.
No, so he's left Marvel.
Yeah.
He's left DC. Before that, there was problems with Fox for Firefly Serenity.
Oh.
Like it's sadly, it's something that's haunted him throughout his career.
Yeah.
So by Age of Ultron, what upset me was because he kept so it's impossible to be a fan and not read behind the scenes news.
Right.
And he kept saying how Ultron will be the ultimate dictator in the Marvel universe, how he had to really be a villain on set, and next thing I know, it's the sun's coming real low, big guy. I'm like, what is this?
All right, since you mentioned that, Black Widow apparently has the ability to calm down the Hulk and bring him back to Bruce Banner. We see that in the very first scene, actually, at the end of the first scene.
Yeah.
And it's a line that, reoccurs in the MCU. We hear it once again in Thor Ragnarok,
Yeah,
which
which is also one of the best comedy wise.
Yeah.
It worked really well in Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, but we'll talk about it later on, in the next couple of episodes of this MCU recap. Like what you said, Khai, this movie, it was a what are you doing kind of thing.
Yeah, it really was. And it's a shame because Ultron genuinely had the potential to destroy the Avengers simply because of the ferocity of what he knows. Like, he knows everything about Tony Stark.
Yep.
He has information on all of them, and he decides to build a vibranium body, throw Sokovia down on Earth. Like, what? Why not just share Tony Stark's tax records? The government's gonna capture him anyway. Like,
If
Would that be a better movie, Kai?
no, but you have your finger in so many pies. Like, this is the route you chose. Like, okay.
if you think about it, Ultron was the server at one point.
Yeah.
Everything went through him. Anyway, back to the movie. What else do we see? We see the first inclusion of an Asian actor in Avengers Age of Ultron. There was a Korean doctor who has a big crush on Thor.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, everybody has a crush on Thor.
Yeah, I would too if I was in that universe. But I guess they had to put her in to kind of capture the Asian market as well. Because
No,
they shot
I think
part
it was
of
a tax
for-
break because Korea has appeared in Black Panther as well.
yeah.
There's been a tax break situation here.
And there was scenes shot in South Korea, towards
The highway chase.
the third quarter of the movie,
Yeah.
with the containers and all the little Ultrons trying to lift it up in the air because of that body in there,
which became
is
Vision.
which became Vision. So if you don't already know, Vision's body in particular was supposed to be ready for transference of Ultron's conscious into that body. But then the Avengers come in, take the body and throw a spanner in his plans, and then Thor appears out of nowhere and
Out
he's
of
like,
nowhere.
No, after a jacuzzi.
yes, that's right. After his jacuzzi
Yeah.
scene.
So he's kind of like having some kind of clarity.
Yeah.
And he knows what to
So,
do.
He's a bit too old to do some soul searching, but okay.
Yeah, but that's one of the big plot holes.
Yeah.
You never understand what went behind his thinking and how he just popped into the scene and electrified Vision, which brought him to life.
Yeah.
It's never explained.
I mean, to be fair, it depends on how long I sit in the jacuzzi. Once I step out, I'm either lightheaded and I do whatever, or I might be a bit more clear and go like, I think I'm gonna have dinner after this.
Yeah.
Apart from that, what else can we say about this? The ending scene, the big fight scene at the end, was not really a big fight scene. It was just,
It recreated the fight scene from the first film.
Yeah.
or at least they tried.
I don't know. Like, I cannot remember a lot of things, but the best thing that is of Age of Ultron is, I think it's like the first act where they were all chilling at Tony Stark's house.
Yeah.
They're having like a conversation and chatting, and it's like, and then Thor was like, only those who are worthy can lift the hammer, and all of them try to lift.
Yeah.
I think that's the best scene from
And then
the whole
Captain America
movie.
sort of moves it a little bit, and
Yeah.
then his face changes like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Is he
Yeah.
gonna lift it? And
Yeah.
then we see the cameo from Stan Lee, because
He was a party crowd.
there's Asgardian drinks, and he's like,
Yeah.
I can handle it. And the next cut is like him walking out. Excelsior.
Yeah, I think that's the best thing about the
It
whole
really
movie.
was, yeah.
Like,
I
everything-
didn't like anything else.
I don't remember so many that you guys are saying.
Oh,
like,
really?
I only, because it was so bad, like, I only remember that because that was the best scene.
That was it. And after that, it was just a blank.
I was like, it's so, like, even you guys explaining
But
it, like, so bad.
We did get an awesome fight between Hulk and the Hulkbuster.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what pisses me off a lot.
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry. Marvel released the entire fight clip 3 days before the premiere.
Yes, that's true.
Oh, yeah, that's
I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
I didn't, but okay, I did. But I was so mad. I thought there would be more.
Right.
Oh.
Because merchandising wise, that was the one they kept building up. Like, this is the premiere of the Hulkbuster armor.
Yeah.
And then I think Marvel Studios Facebook went, here's a clip.
You're right. And the clip ended with the two of them punching each other, and that was the clip.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember.
And then there was another 30 seconds after that, and that's it.
Yeah.
But the only reason I respect that clip is because they shot it in Bangladesh, which is like
Oh, okay.
where I'm legally from.
which is your kampong?
Apparently, yeah. But we also got Ulysses Claw in this film.
Yes.
Oh,
He
yeah.
made his debut, and I thought he was hilarious from the get-go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when they were like, what's your problem? He goes, you know what I don't like? Jellyfish.
No, cuttlefish.
yeah. And they go, whoop, whoop, whoop. He bites you. Yeah. It's like, what is he doing? I'm not sure how I feel about this film.
Okay.
But then another fun fact: Lego recently released a bigger sized Hulkbuster.
Hulkbuster.
Yeah,
From
it looks
Infinity War.
really good.
An updated.
From Infinity War, or
It doesn't say, but yeah, for Infinity War.
okay?
Because
so-
it's a different body. It's a bigger one. It's I don't know how to
For all our audience members at home, if you want to know the difference between the Infinity War, Hulkbuster, and the Age of Ultron, the arc reactor on Age of Ultron is a triangle inverted, and then the one on Infinity War is a rhombus. Just feel like I would put it like a more trapezoid rhombus, but yeah.
The new Hulkbuster has more chest.
Yeah. Less arms.
neck.
Yeah.
More chest.
Less-
He's been going to the gym, guys.
Yeah.
All right, so that's Avengers Age of Ultron. Not everyone's favorite, I think, here. Let's move on to the next movie, which is Ant-Man. Now, this was a refreshing movie
It was amazing.
for the MCU.
I loved it.
We're introduced to Scott Lang.
Played by I think it's almost perfect casting, Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Who would have
Comedy
thought?
actor.
This guy from Clueless.
Oh yeah.
For
No,
you, it's Clueless.
no.
For me, it's Anchorman.
For me, it's this guy from Friends.
Oh. Okay,
He's
yes.
Phoebe's husband.
Yeah, but Clueless
I've never
came out
seen
first.
Friends.
What?
I've never seen Friends.
You are missing out.
We need to have a talk. Anyway, yeah, Scott Lang, played by Paul Rudd, and he comes out from incarceration, from jail.
yeah.
And, he has to start off from square one. So he has his friend, Michael Pena's character, and I think there's a
It's
rap-
also T.I.
there's a
Oh,
rapper.
yeah.
T.I.'s in this
and
movie.
also the guy who played Thomas Schiff in The Dark Knight, the mental patient.
Yes.
Yeah,
The one
Dark Knight
who-
fans will know. Who had Rachel Dawes' name on his uniform.
Right, the one who was laughing hysterically.
When Harvey was interrogating him and Batman goes like, his name's Schiff. Thomas. And then, the scene played out.
All right. And then we're also introduced to Hank Pym.
Yes, played by Michael Douglas.
Played Michael Douglas, who was the original Ant-Man
Yes.
in this movie iteration.
We also reintroduced to older Stark.
Howard Stark.
Howard
Howard
Stark,
And
who
Peggy,
was played by a different actor.
From Iron Man 2, yes.
Yeah, so that confused me a little. I was thinking, why
Howard Stark
was
has
it
been played by
necessary?
3 different people at
Yeah.
this
That's
point.
true.
It's been played by the guy in Iron Man 2, Dominic Cooper.
Dominic Cooper.
And then this guy from Mad Men.
Yeah,
Okay, this movie solidifies what we already knew, which was that Agent Carter, Howard Stark, and Hank Pym also were the original founders of S.H.I.E.L.D. All right, and we see that in the first movie. They did some really good de-aging on Michael Douglas.
They did, yeah. And they did some good aging on Haley Atwell.
Yeah, she looks, like in her 40s, I think.
Yeah.
but you can never hide the eyes. The eyes still sparkle as like a young woman.
Okay.
Is that your line? Okay.
Dell is apparently promoting his new single.
What?
You Can Never Hide the Eyes by Delgo on SoundCloud soon. So,
Okay, so Ant-Man, Hank Pym needs to find someone capable of taking up the mantle of Ant-Man.
and I think trying to keep Pym Industries
Pym Industries.
out of the hands of Corey Stoll's character.
Yes, who later becomes Yellow Jacket,
Yellow Jacket,
because he gets jacked up and he goes crazy.
He gets jacked up on yellow.
The yellow serum.
literally
The yellow
does,
serum.
He literally does. So Scott Lang goes back to his criminal ways. He tries to scale and break into the house, and the only thing he finds in the safe is the Ant-Man suit, and he goes, all right, I guess I'll take it.
Yeah.
And
For
then,
no reason at
And then he
all.
puts it on, and then there's that scene
In the bathroom, I think.
in the bathroom where he becomes small, and then he
Yeah.
ends up downstairs at a party. He's almost crushed, and this and that.
I don't understand that party scene though. Like somebody explained to me. So he stole that, and then supposedly it's already late at night. So there is a party downstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
that's when
And then
parties
he
happen.
dropped down another level.
Yeah.
Somebody's vacuuming.
Yeah.
In the middle of the night.
I mean, there are people with OCD out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Th-
Okay. Sure.
These are things that
Sure.
happen in any big city.
Yeah, I'll tell you updates in LA. Like, I'll tell you what my neighbors do.
Okay.
Guess what, guys? It's 4:00 and they're having dinner. I don't know.
And I'm texting you guys.
And that's when he, he meets Hank Pym for the first time, although it's only by voice.
yeah.
There's his voice in the helmet, and it's Hank Pym's voice, and he says that, okay, here's what you got to do, da 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 da. And then he starts his training.
And I think one of the things I like most is how Paul Rudd brought his own flavor into the film.
Yeah.
Like, he had a character called Anthony.
Yeah.
Yes, his favorite flying ant.
I don't think anybody would have been able to say that except for Paul Rudd.
Hey, Anthony.
Yeah, no, Anthony! And how Evangeline Lilly's character also kept butting heads with Paul. I don't know, I just love the character dynamics
Yeah,
in this film,
yeah.
You had Corey Stoll as the creep who was just kind of obsessing over Evangeline Lilly's character. I'm forgetting her name now.
Wasp.
No, yeah, that's her superhero
Oh,
name.
right. Oh.
It's not Janet because Janet is going to be played by Michelle Pfeiffer in the next one.
That's the
Hope
mom.
Van Dyne.
Hope Van Dyne, that's it. So you had Corey Stoll obsessing over Hope, him kind of terrorizing Hank Pym kind of not being scared. It's just so good. The character movements were really good.
It's sort of
I
like
didn't
it's sort
care
of
for
like
it.
like business story thriller kind of thing.
It's
Behind
it's
the scene.
I know, Wall Street.
Yeah, but the only problem is for me is that this is quite familiar. Nothing new. It's not groundbreaking.
Really?
It's just it's something that we've seen in other movies as
It's
well.
like the poor man's Iron Man. Is that what you're saying?
No.
Because Scott Lang's poor.
That's exactly what I feel about Ant-Man. It's the poor Tony Stark version.
Really?
Yeah.
I think the best bits were like when Michael Peña's character, T.I.'s character, and like the other guy was always in. Like when these three came in, you knew it would be a good time.
Yeah.
Like when they talked about Baskin Robbins, and T.I. goes, "Man, Baskin Robbins always knows."
Yeah.
And then when Michael Peña talks about how he heard about somebody, like so he just goes, "My cousin," and then you know it's.
I have a feeling that's a
Edgar Wright.
Edgar Wright's writing.
Yeah, so a bit of background about this movie. This movie was supposed to be originally directed by Edgar Wright.
Yeah.
He apparently wanted to make this movie for like the last 10 years.
Yes, he's a huge fan of the character.
But because of, reasons that we don't know, of course, we're going to speculate and say that it's the studios always trying to get their way and, they kept butting heads and he left the project. Well,
And I think this went to Peyton Reed.
Yeah.
yeah, it's
right?
been
Yeah.
read. But you
Oh,
could,
we went to somebody, Chris McKay first, and
Right,
then to Peyton
yeah.
Reed.
Yeah.
And
but you could still feel the Edgar Wright
Some
DNA
Edgar Wright
Yeah.
in there.
yeah.
Like so, some of the shots.
And he's credited as a writer as
Yeah,
well.
and
Oh,
that
I did not know that.
He's still credited.
Well done.
and that sequence that you mentioned, Michael Peña's character, when he does that whole "I heard from this, I heard from that," it feels very Edgar Wright.
yeah, especially to those who've seen his Cornetto trilogy.
Yeah, especially Shaun of the Dead, because that's where that sort of comes from.
This movie also made me feel like, because Marvel kicked out Edgar Wright, or he left amicably, but also that it doesn't matter which director they bring in, it will still have the Marvel formula.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So it doesn't matter even if Edgar Wright worked on it for the last 10 years, but they just bring in somebody new because the formula is there already for the director to follow. They just have to follow it, and then you'll get a Marvel movie.
Yeah, there is a recipe here. The studio tries to push that recipe onto the story, I guess. Yeah.
I feel like, it's kind of like the comics. Like, yeah, they're all separate characters, but you have like 3-4 editors overlooking everything.
Yeah.
So it looks uniformed.
Like
I guess.
when you come out the other side, it sort of sounds the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Instead
Which
of-
is why in a later episode we'll talk about Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I was assuming
where
there.
it was supposed to be a departure, especially with Scott Derrickson coming in from horror background. I thought we are gonna get like a horror kind of feel,
or something very eye-opening, because Exorcism of Emily Rose
Yeah.
was amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah, Kevin's imitating
Doing
Jennifer Carpenter, I think.
I'm contorting myself
Yeah.
as best I can. Yeah, so that's Ant-Man. This was one of the better ones, I guess.
Of Phase 2,
Of
yeah.
Phase 2.
he bumped heads with Falcon in the middle.
That was funny.
For a little bit.
That was
good
really fun.
fight scene.
and that was also at the new S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters.
Avengers
yeah.
headquarters.
Oh, sorry,
yeah.
the Avengers
Avengers
headquarters.
headquarters.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Okay.
the ending, the last fight, just felt a little dull.
The best
Really?
part.
Come on, man. That huge Thomas the Tank Engine?
I was literally gonna
Yeah.
say the best part
Yeah.
is the Thomas the Tank Engine bit.
Yeah, where you see them close up and,
And then
then
it
you
just
pull
topples
away,
over.
it just topples. Yeah,
Yeah, that was
that
funny.
was good. That was
That
good.
was amazing.
Well, there was that, and then there was the huge ant.
Yeah, that was like a dog.
And it's like, no, there was a dog.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Yeah,
Really?
that is
It
very
is
disgusting.
Disgusting,
Yeah.
yeah.
How
Ants are
do
not,
they keep that?
ants are not cute. Let me.
So in Ant-Man 2, we'll see this ant
Hopefully, yeah.
again.
We shall see. Ant-Man 2, of course, coming out towards the end of this year.
No, I think it's
No.
July.
July, sorry.
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Ant-Man the Wasp coming out in July. We've already seen the trailer for that. Looks good. Set up more as a, crime story kind
Like
of
a
thing.
heist film again.
Heist film, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it. That's Ant-Man, what we think of Ant-Man. So do join us on the next episode of our MCU Recap, The Road to Infinity War. So that's going to be it this week for the show, I guess. We did another one, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you next week.
We did another one.
Yeah, we did another one.
I mean, this is like what, 47?
47.
Wow.
Yeah.
Or 48. I can't remember.
Okay.
Okay, fine. We'll come clean. In case you're wondering, that last segment was pre-recorded earlier because, Khai was leaving and we thought we'd want to have him on for the MCU recap. But yeah, he's not here. So yeah. So I'd like to thank my co-host Del, Nikkei, and the new addition, Nazz, for joining me today here on the Wayang Crew. We'll see you next week. What's showing next week, guys?
Oh man, you put me on the spot. I don't know.
We shall see. But
Yeah.
we'll see you next week on the show. Same time, same place. From me, Kev, this is the Wayang Crew signing off. Bye.